All right, folks, let me ask you straight. Why do we still pay for the BBC when it protected some of the worst sex offenders in modern British history? Because here's the truth they want you to forget. This isn't just a bit of bias. It's a taxpayer-funded institution with blood on its hands. For decades, it harboured paedophiles and predators, turned a blind eye to warnings and silenced victims. Now Labour's Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, is threatening to sack BBC bosses over a Gaza documentary and a vile Glastonbury chant. But is she really trying to clean up the BBC? Or is this just Labour spin to make themselves look tough? Let's talk about the BBC's real record. They're masters of public apologies, crocodile tears and lessons learned memos, but they never change. Let's look at the rap sheet. Facts, dates, convictions. Let's name them. Jimmy Savile, BBC superstar for decades, exposed after his death as one of Britain's worst sex offenders. Hundreds of victims, abused children in hospitals, schools, even on BBC premises. They knew for years and did nothing. Stuart Hall, BBC presenter, convicted in 2013 for sexually assaulting girls as young as 9, sentenced to 30 months in prison, later increased. Rolf Harris, BBC favourite, convicted in 2014 of multiple indecent assaults on girls, sentenced to prison. Chris Denning, one of the original Radio 1 DJs, multiple convictions spanning decades for sexually abusing boys. Serial paedophile Jonathan King, music producer and BBC regular, convicted in 2001 of sexually abusing teenage boys, jailed. Gary Glitter, Top of the Pops regular, convicted multiple times for child sexual abuse, both in the UK and abroad. Peter Rowell, BBC local TV and radio presenter, convicted in 2012 for sexual assaults on girls and possessing indecent images, jailed. Michael Sauter, BBC Norfolk radio presenter, convicted in 2013, jailed for life, minimum 6 years, for sexually abusing boys over decades. Ben Thomas, BBC Wales presenter, convicted in 2020, jailed for 13 years for sexually abusing young boys. And let's not forget Hugh Edwards, the BBC's flagship newsreader, accused in 2023 of paying a teenager for explicit images while the BBC bosses sat on the allegations for weeks and kept him on air. No criminal charges, but a scandal that destroyed trust in their management. And John Peel, a BBC hero to this day, admitted in interviews to sex with underage groupies, never charged. They still treat him like royalty. Now, you'd think a broadcaster with that history would show some humility. Instead, they lecture us about truth, balance and integrity, and now they're under fire for airing a Gaza documentary narrated by the son of a Hamas official. They let death to the IDF air at Glastonbury live with no censorship. Can you imagine if that was aired by GB News, huh? The Ofcom lot would be shutting them down. It's reckless, dangerous, disgusting. So Lisa Nandy jumps in, demanding, why hasn't anyone been fired? But here's where you need to see through the spin. So the question is Labour really trying to fix the BBC or just control it? Because let's be honest, Labour doesn't want to scrap the licence fee. It doesn't want to break up the BBC cartel. It wants the BBC on a leash. This threat to sack managers? It's a warning shot. Stay in line. Don't embarrass us. It's classic political theatre. Make it look like you're cleaning house. Distract from Labour's own internal rows about anti-Semitism and Gaza. Avoid tackling the real problem. Decades of bias, insider jobs and lack of accountability. Lisa Nandy isn't offering to defund the BBC. She's not promising real reform. She just wants to look tough by picking off a few easy scapegoats. And where does that leave us? Well, we're the mugs who pay for it. Your licence fee funded Savile's stardom while kids were being abused in BBC corridors. Your money paid the executives who ignored whistleblowers. Your money funds the bloated, out-of-touch bureaucracy that can't even manage war coverage without stoking community hatred at home. And they still have the nerve to call us the bigots, the conspiracy theorists, the unpatriotic ones for asking questions. The BBC doesn't need one sacrificial head to roll. It needs a reckoning. It needs to answer for every child it failed, every lie it told, every time it sneered at the people footing the bill. So ask yourself again, why do we keep paying for this? For Labour's political football? For moral lectures from people who protected monsters in their own buildings? If Lisa Nandy really wanted change, she'd scrap the licence fee altogether. But she won't, because Labour doesn't want a clean BBC, it wants a compliant one. If you're sick of funding this disgrace, speak up, tell your MP. Don't be bullied into silence, and if you want the truth, not their spin, keep watching, like, comment, share. This is TruthCast UK, and we won't forget what they want you to forget.